Have you ever noticed the person sitting alone in a library, always in the same corner, always silent, never distracted? Most people assume they're lonely, or antisocial, or avoiding the world. But psychology tells a very different story. People who choose to sit alone in libraries aren't running away from life. They're creating a rare mental environment, one where the mind can finally hear itself think. While others need noise to feel alive, these minds need quiet to feel real. Today, we're exploring the psychology of people who sit alone in libraries, what their behavior reveals about their inner world, their intelligence, and why solitude for them isn't isolation, it's clarity. Silence makes people uncomfortable. When someone sits alone in a library, not scrolling, not chatting, not seeking attention, the outside world rushes to explain it. They must be lonely. They don't fit in. They're withdrawn. But psychology warns us about this mistake. We often project our own needs onto others. If silence feels empty to us, we assume it feels empty to everyone. For certain minds, silence is not absence, it's presence. The person sitting alone in a library isn't escaping people. They're escaping interruption. They are choosing a space where nothing is demanded of them emotionally. No performance. No small talk. No background noise hijacking their attention. This isn't avoidance. It's intentional regulation. And that choice already tells us something important. This is someone who knows what their mind needs. Libraries are psychologically unique spaces. They offer something rare in modern life, permission to slow down. There is no urgency in a library, no loud cues telling you what to feel, buy, or react to. For people who sit alone there, this environment acts like a mental decompression chamber. Psychologically speaking, these individuals often have high internal stimulation. Their thoughts are active, layered, associative. Noise doesn't energize them, it fragments them. A library provides structure without pressure, presence without intrusion, company without obligation. You're surrounded by minds but not invaded by them. For certain personalities, especially reflective, analytical, or emotionally sensitive ones, this balance is deeply stabilizing. They aren't hiding from the world. They're recalibrating before re-entering it. This behavior is often labeled as introversion, but that's only the surface. Introversion explains energy flow. It doesn't explain meaning. Many people who sit alone in libraries are not shy. They're not socially anxious. They're not incapable of connection. They're selective. Psychologically, this reflects high cognitive depth. These minds process information thoroughly. They reflect before reacting. They prefer depth over breadth. Social environments that reward speed, volume, and constant engagement feel mentally expensive to them. A library offers something else, space to integrate thoughts instead of defending them. This is where ideas are digested, not displayed. And for these individuals, being alone doesn't reduce connection, it refines it. People who choose solitary spaces often have a strong inner dialogue. Their minds are already populated. Thoughts converse with memories. Questions echo against ideas. Meaning unfolds quietly. When you sit alone in a library, you're not sitting with nothing. You're sitting with everything you haven't had time to hear. Psychology calls this metacognition, thinking about thinking. These individuals aren't escaping stimulation. They're protecting a fragile mental ecosystem. Noise interrupts insight. Distraction fractures understanding. So they choose environments that allow thoughts to finish their sentences. That's not withdrawal, that's cognitive respect. Here's the uncomfortable truth. We live in a culture that confuses visibility with health. If you're not seen engaging, reacting, or socializing, something must be wrong. But psychology shows us that restoration often looks inactive from the outside. The person sitting alone in a library may have a rich social life elsewhere. They may love people deeply. They may simply need spaces where they're not required to be on. Solitude, for them, isn't a rejection of others. It's maintenance of self. And without that maintenance, their ability to connect actually deteriorates. So they choose solitude first, so they can show up fully later. There's another quiet pattern here. People who seek out libraries often value knowledge without performance. No algorithm rewards you. No one applauds. No one notices. The motivation is internal. Psychologically, this reflects intrinsic orientation, a hallmark of deep learning and intellectual independence. These individuals aren't chasing validation. They're chasing understanding. They don't need to be seen learning. They need to be immersed in it. Sitting alone in a library becomes an act of intellectual integrity. learning for its own sake, thinking without an audience. That's rare, and it's powerful. Libraries also provide emotional neutrality. No one asks how you're doing. No one expects a mood. No one demands enthusiasm. For emotionally intelligent people, this is grounding. They don't have to regulate others while regulating themselves. Psychology shows that people who seek neutral environments often possess high empathy. They feel others deeply. Solitude gives them space to feel themselves again. Sitting alone becomes a form of emotional honesty. No masking, no translation, just being. Isolation drains, solitude restores. Isolation is imposed, solitude is chosen. The people we're talking about are not trapped alone, they are opting in. That distinction matters psychologically. Chosen solitude increases creativity, clarity, and emotional regulation. Forced isolation does the opposite. So when you see someone sitting alone in a library, understand this. They may be building something invisible. An idea. A sense of self. A quieter, stronger mind. If you're someone who sits alone in libraries or craves similar spaces, here's what psychology wants you to hear. There is nothing wrong with you. You are not antisocial. You are not disconnected. You are not behind. You simply understand that your mind does its best work when it isn't constantly interrupted. And that awareness is not weakness. It's self-knowledge. The person sitting alone in a library isn't empty. They are full of thoughts, questions, meanings waiting to unfold. They are not hiding from the world. They are preparing to meet it more clearly. In a culture addicted to noise, choosing silence is a form of intelligence. So the next time you notice someone sitting alone among shelves of books, remember, some minds don't need crowds to feel alive. They need space. That voice you hear isn't a sign you're losing control. It's proof your mind is fighting to understand itself.